I am in my fantasy era. Every once in a while, I get this craving to just devour as many fantasy books as I can, and that is me right now. What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. In today's video, I am going to talk about my insanely massive fantasy TBR. And I really need you guys' help because I need to know which ones of these are worth the read, which ones of these you absolutely loved. Some of these I have never seen anyone talk about. Others have been sitting on my shelf forever, and there's literally so many that I need to be like persuaded to pick up the ones that you guys say are the best. So with that being said, let me show you guys the books that I'm currently in the middle of. The first one is By the Orchard and the Owl by Mariah Montoya. This book swept me off my feet. I am more than halfway through. I'm probably like 3/4 of the way through. This has just been so much fun and so good, and book 2 comes out I think in March, so I read it at the perfect timing. I'm loving this one. The next one that I just started is this stunning beauty of a book. Look at the back of this. This is absolutely insane. This is called River of Shadows. I just barely started this last night, so I just like got into like the introduction of what the book is about, and it captured me right away. So I'm excited to finish this one. It's also book 1 in a series. The next one I just barely started is The Crimson Crown. This book is so pretty. I bought this at Barnes & Noble just because it was so pretty. It had the red sprayed edges on it, and I just barely started this one. I'm unsure. It's definitely not immediately grabbing my attention, so I'm gonna give it a little bit more time and see what I think of it, but I'm unsure. And that's okay, honestly. That happens to me with a lot of books. Next, I'm going to start rapid firing through a lot of these books that I have because there's so many of them, but 2 books that I really want to start right away, as soon as I'm done with some of the ones that I just went through, is Blood Over Bright Haven. I've heard absolutely nothing but good things about this one. And then next is The Will of the Many, and I cannot wait to start this one, but it is so intimidating because damn, this is so big. It's just over 600 pages, and yeah, this is intimidating, but I have heard it's amazing, so I definitely need to just start it. Jumping right into the craziness that is my fantasy TBR is this series right here. This has been on my shelf forever, and nobody talks about this series. And I am someone who really enjoys like a fantasy retelling, which I'm pretty sure these are. Please correct me if I'm wrong about that, but I think that this is with like a sci-fi twist. I'm not sure, but I just really need to read these. Moving along to this stack right here. We have Tale of the Heart Queen. This is book 4 in the Artifacts of Uranus series. Is that the name of the series? Because if I'm wrong, that's really embarrassing. However, I have loved this series so far, and this one is the last one I need to read. It's also really big though. That's why I haven't started it yet. The Poppy War. I cannot wait to finally read The Poppy War. I feel like I'm one of the few people that hasn't read it yet. Same can be said about Legendborn. This one has been on my shelf for a really long time, and I want to finally read it. I have Bloodmarked as well. It's up there somewhere, and I know the 3rd book is coming out soon, so maybe I waited till the right time so that I can like binge all 3 of them at once, but I just need to get on this. Fated Born. This has been on my shelf for a while, and I remember reading what it was about and thinking that sounds really good, and also like the cover's really pretty, but I never went and picked it up, so this is on my list. The Everking. This whole series I have heard really good things about. The Foxglove King. I did attempt to read this book once, and I was not in like the right mindset for it, and I haven't gone back to it since. Usually I don't go back to books, to be honest, but something about this one I want to love, and I just need to know, like, do I need to read this one, or should I pass on it and maybe just move on? Blade of Secrets. This is by Trisha Levenseller. I have another book in here from her somewhere, but she wrote the series that's Daughter of a Pirate King, and I absolutely loved that series, so I wanted to read more from her, and then I never did. The Sundered Realms. This was a PR book that I received that I just thought was absolutely stunning. Something about this just screams like the perfect type of escapism in fantasy that I look for. I need to finally hurry up and read this one. Another little series that I have heard amazing things about, Eternal Reign and Immortal Prince. These books are also just really pretty. They have like designs in them. I love that so much. And so I have heard good things, but if anyone else has read this series, I would love to know your thoughts. Here's an old one, Kingdom of the Wicked. This has been sitting on my shelf for so long. It's the only book I own in the series. I held back from buying the rest before I gave the first one a try, and so here's this one. Blood of the Sands. This is book 1 in a series. I thought it sounded so interesting, and then I just have not gotten around to picking it up. Obsidian by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This one is a newer addition to my shelves, so it hasn't been sitting here very long, but it does have the really pretty sprayed edges. Moving on to these ones right here. These, I'm so intimidated by these books. So we have Six of Crows, which I was about to start until someone told me that I should read the Shadow and Bone series first. So I do have all 3 of the Shadow and Bone books, and for some reason I am just incredibly intimidated to start this series. I feel like it might be complicated, and if it is, it's gonna like chase me away a little bit, and then I'm not going to want to read them. I have a very hard time with fantasy that is overly complicated and like overly epic, and I have a hard time just like grasping the concepts. So that's why I haven't started this one. I really hope I'm wrong about it, but I want to love this universe. There's a word for this universe and I can't remember it. The Grishaverse. It's right on the back of the book. Am I saying that correctly though? I'm unsure. Anyway, I really need you guys to convince me to read these because I want to love it. When the Moon Hatched. So many people love this book. This is another one that's just so intimidating because it's so big. This one's almost 700, so this one's even bigger than The Will of the Many. I know a lot of people have loved this book, but I feel like the hype didn't stay around long enough for me to finally pick it up and read it, if that makes sense. I very much go off the hype of the book community. If everyone is reading and raving about a book, I want to read and rave about it as well. I have no shame in that. I love the hype. This book right here is an ARC that I received that sounded really cool, and I love how like arcish it is. That's not a word. But it's called Into the Fire, and I definitely want to read this one. The copy I have is obviously an ARC, but it came out in October. Bride of the Shadow King. This one has a really cool title, really cool cover. I'm not sure what this one is about. But it's a shorter fantasy book. I'm always interested in a shorter fantasy book. The Honey Witch. I have been wanting to read this one forever. I remember receiving this book as an ARC and putting it on my TBR and then just literally never picking it up. I don't know why this happens to me, but I've heard that this one is just really cute and cozy, so I'm excited to get to it eventually. Then I have some books that I bought solely for their sprayed edges. I fall victim to that hype all the time, and I question myself about it because a lot of the time I don't end up enjoying the book. But I have the last one with these pretty edges. This one I actually really do have high hopes for. This is The Night Ends with Fire, and this one has really cool edges as well, but I love the front cover of this. This one too I'm really excited for. This one is North is the Night, and it gives me such a like wintry vibe. I love that, and the edges are stunning. Then we have Heaven Breaker. Same situation, pretty sprayed edges, but haven't read it. One thing I'll say also is that I never actually see reviews about these books. Like, they get so popular because they have the sprayed edges and everybody wants to pre-order them, but does anyone else ever read them? Because I feel like I never see reviews. This book right here, you guys, Creatures of Chaos. This one is going to be one of the ones that I read first just because I have been excited for this one, but this is literally the prettiest book I have ever seen, and so let me show you why. So it has these really pretty gold foiled sprayed edges. Okay, let's see if I can give you guys a good view of this on camera, but when you tilt the pages to the side, they have a design. Do you see that? And then when they're together, they're just completely gold, and when you flip them to the other side, they have a different design. I don't know if I'm doing this justice, but trust me, it is the coolest, most unique book I have ever seen. I need to hurry up and read it already. Another classic one that I feel like so many people have loved is Road of Bones, and I still vividly remember the blurb of this book from like when I first received the book and read this, because it sounded so good in my mind that it has just stuck with me. I don't know why I haven't read it yet, but here we are. Moving on, I have one more stack to go through, and the first one here is Reckless. I read Powerless, I read Powerful. I haven't read Reckless. I saw nothing but disappointment in this book, and then I started seeing like all the controversy about how this is like basically the same book as, what is it? Now I can't remember. I'm not going to be able to remember because the camera is recording right now, and that just always happens to me. But I ended up kind of losing interest in the series. Even though I did pretty much enjoy Powerless, I don't know if I'll ever get to that one, to be honest. More books. The Blood Trials. I have heard this is absolutely amazing. I need to read it. To Kill a Kingdom. This is a random book. I've never heard anything about this one, but I was browsing in Barnes & Noble one day. I read the back of it and it sounded really good, so I grabbed it. Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This one had its round of popularity for a while, so I bought it during that hype, and then I never heard anything about it again, and I haven't read it. Okay, rapid fire through these. We have Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. I bought this after I read the Fable and Namesake and Saint series, which I think is up here somewhere. And I wanted to read more from that author. The Gilded Ones. I have heard amazing things about this book, so I can't wait to read it. Dragon Den. I am down for anything that has dragons. Hallowed Games. This book has been on my TBR absolutely forever. Then we have this one. I can't remember what this is about. It's called A Curse of Breath and Blood. I just think it's really pretty. This is actually also one of those books that has like really pretty artwork on the front and back. Definitely a beautiful book. This one is called A Curse of Blood and Wolves. This is stunning. This one is called Heart of Night and Fire. This is by Nisha J. Tooley. She is the same author as the Artifacts of Oranos series. They're right here. In case I'm saying that incorrectly, these are the books I'm talking about. Then we have A Ruin of Roses. This was actually recommended to me a very long time ago, so I bought it, but then I just never picked it up. I am so guilty of doing that so often. This one is called A Game of Veils. This is book 1 in a series. I'm pretty sure this has like the Deadly Trials trope, which I really do enjoy. Then we have Fireborn. I've been wanting to read this one for a really long time too, and I just haven't. Also this as well, House of Ash and Shadow. I have heard that this is really great. It's another really short book, and I know there's at least a book 2. I have really high hopes for that one actually. Last up, we have this series right here. I just thought that these covers were amazing. A friend of mine bought them and showed them, and I was like, okay, I need those. But I had never got around to reading them, and then when she read them, I think she only gave them like 3 stars, and so I kind of lost interest a little bit after that. So we have Ledge. This is book 1, and then book 2. I love the way these covers look together. They are so pretty, and I just need to give them a try on my own when I'm in the right mood. The last 2 I have are 2 more books from Marissa Meyer, and I have Gilded and Cursed, and I don't know anything about these books. I just look at them and I think, dang, I really want to read that. I want to explore it. I want to know what it's about. I want to dive into whatever world that is. And then I'm just so overwhelmed by all of these books. I don't know which one to pick up first. And so I 100% need you guys' help. Please tell me which of these books are amazing. Which ones of these have you read and loved, or which ones of these do you think I will love, especially if you're familiar with like my reading style. There are seriously a lot more books on the shelves behind me, which are obviously so bare right now because I took these all down, but there's even more up there that I haven't read yet. This is a problem, and I want to just get through, not even that I just want to get through these books, but I want to dive into these books. I want to enjoy these worlds. Like, I am just craving that fantasy aspect. I need to escape reality so badly lately, and fantasy is just so fun for me. So that is pretty much all I've got to say for this video. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been fun for me to like branch over to YouTube and make different types of videos. I'm gonna go and put all of these books away now, so wish me luck with that.